All right, everybody. Matt Emroy back once again. Whew. Boy, that was a bit of a mess earlier, wasn't it? Oh, boy. I don't know how many of you guys will come to this one, but I would totally understand if you didn't, because I cannot believe what happened before. I'll give just a couple of minutes, but apparently it was all my fault. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that Eric had put in my head that they were not allowing YouTube's encoder to be used anymore, that you had to use something like OBS Studios. That combined with the lack of sleep last night and the coup de grace, the reason that my live stream was such a mess before. In the bottom right-hand corner, when you create a live stream on YouTube, there is a little box, probably no bigger than 2 or 3 inches, that says Enable Classic Streaming. Well, apparently I must have clicked that, and that is why I had to use the encoder, because as you can see now, I'm doing it the way I always do it. I'm using YouTube's embedded encoder. Now, granted, I'm not going to have the ability to share screenshots and do overlays and things like that, but at the same time, I'm not going to have the same issues that I had before. And if you guys were watching the last live stream and you stayed past when I turned OBS Studio off, you could see that the video, the live stream, kept going for about another 15 or 20 minutes. And that was all on YouTube, because once you end a live stream with OBS Studios like I did, I clicked stop stream, waited for it to stop, and then closed the program. That sends a signal to YouTube that says, okay, the live stream is over, end it. Well, for some reason it didn't do that, so it was all kinds of messed up. Eric goes, when I go to the classic view, it goes to my other screen that I normally use with OBS or OSB, but I get what you're saying, OBS. You have to go to webcam. When you click on the live, you have the, what is it, the manage? No, the one in the middle is the classic one where you have to use OBS Studios. To the left is webcam, and then to the right is manage. We need to go to the webcam, because if you go click on the webcam, then YouTube immediately knows to go and use their embedded encoder and not one in like OBS Studio or one of the other encoding programs. Rick Lake says, hello again, Matt. Matt, hello to you. Hopefully this is going to be a lot smoother. I'm not going to make this super long, but I figured I owed you guys some kind of explanation, and I didn't know at first that the live stream kept going on after I had ended the streaming through OBS Studio. So I don't know. It's all kinds of messed up. And it's partially my fault. I am not fluent in OBS Studio, and I probably did something not quite right. But at least for the time being, I'm just going to be using the YouTube embedded encoder. It's just a heck of a lot easier, and it's pretty much idiot-proof. And this idiot can be the proof. Oh, you got 4 people here. And another thing, for whatever reason, they tagged my last live stream as inappropriate. Now, maybe it was because I said I lost my shirt and I was actually filming the live stream without my shirt, although all you could see is like right up to here. You couldn't see below my collarbone anyway. I kind of found that odd. Thanks, YouTube's copyright algorithms, I guess. Rick Lakes goes, it happened to others too. It says they're still streaming when they have actually stopped. Yeah, I've seen it happen before. It wasn't just me. It may have not been anything that I did, but it just makes me think. I'm like, why even bother doing it? Yeah, I could see, like, if you were trying to stream games, like if you were a gamer and you were trying to stream a game that you're doing and you were trying to overlay your image on it, then yes, you would absolutely have to use something like OBS Studio. But for the types of live streams that I do, I would say 70–80% of the time I have no need whatsoever to use software that's that complicated. Eric says now he sees the webcam link. Yeah, it's easy to miss. And I'll be honest with you, I've noticed lately, at least, that Firefox works better with YouTube's embedded encoder than Google Chrome does. I don't know why, it just does. So maybe give that a try. Next time you do a live stream the easy way, try doing it under Firefox and not Google Chrome. Got 7 watchers and 2 likes. Awesome. Yeah, I got about 3 or 4 dislikes with the other live stream. Again, I know why. Any news on that hard drive? Scott Kearley asks. You got to be a little bit more specific. I know we probably talked about this, but I didn't get much sleep last night. Eric goes, tomorrow will be the last of my 3-day live streams. I'll tell you, I enjoyed the one you did today. And that's what I think a lot of people are looking for. It's really, really, it's just really basic stuff. I mean, the more complex you make something, the less chance people are going to be that interested. And yeah, it might seem good to you at the time, but when you have all these different cameras, pointing, it looks cool, but it gets distracting. And I think as a society, we need to get back to one-on-one conversations. I'm focused on you guys, you're focused on me, and that's the way it is. Now, it'd be nice if we were all in the same room and we could physically see each other and talk, but I guess this is a good compromise. Awesome Computers is here. Oh yeah, you were talking about that new hard drive that tested bad. Maybe I didn't mention it before. I wound up throwing it out. Even after it was actually before you had mentioned to try one of the like Western Digital utilities. I had already thrown the drive out because not only did it test bad with Crystal Disk Info and Hard Drive Sentinel, but if you listen closely, I could hear that the bearings in the motor were dry. You kind of hear that grinding sound, like. So I just didn't want to take a chance. Again, if it was for my personal computer, I probably would have kept it and used it. But for the fact that it was going to be put in a customer's computer, and also the fact it was only a 500 gigabyte hard drive, I didn't want to take any chances. That's all right. My memory is not so good right now. I'm working on about 3, maybe 4 hours of sleep last night. I just could not sleep. My allergies were really bad. I've noticed that I've been into these cycles to where I'll sleep really good one night, and then the next night I won't sleep good. Then sleep good the following night, and not so good the night after that. It seems like it's scattered sleep. I think a lot of it again has to do with my allergies and the change in the seasons. Awesome Computers goes, you shouldn't throw out hard drives. It's fun to take them apart. I've taken apart my share of hard drives in the past, and I have probably 15 or 20 old ones in there that I could take apart. Actually, it's more fun, or I should say, it's more interesting to take apart the older hard drives, because the more modern hard drives, there's just not that much in there. Maybe one, maybe 2 platters, whereas the older hard drives, you could have 6, 7, even 8 platters in them. Eric got good sleep last night. Awesome. I never added you as a moderator, Eric. I need to do that right now. And I think Scott is a moderator. Yeah, Scott Kearley is a moderator. Don't turn it on, take it apart. EEV blog. Scott Kearley goes, a lot of new ones are glued or tacked beside the screws. I didn't know that, but that doesn't surprise me. They do a lot of, I guess this is the right word, shady things when it comes to manufacturing modern computer components. And it would not surprise you because it's all about keeping the cost down. As a society, we are so into keeping the price of goods down that the quality is suffering. I mean, it's not just computer components. Look at your appliances, your refrigerators, your microwaves, your stoves, your washer dryers, your dishwashers. Everything is made to break. It's called planned obsolescence. I mean, heck, our refrigerator, which is only about 5 years old, the the plastic pieces on the plastic drawers have started to break, and you could tell that the plastic was very thin and brittle even to begin with. It's just the way it is because people expect, and I don't even words, people demand lower prices now. When you have lower prices, you have lower quality. There's just no other way around it. If they made, think about it this way, if they made your refrigerator as good as they did 20, 30 years ago, and those used to last 30 or 40 years sometimes, then they couldn't do it because they wouldn't make any money. They're banking on the fact that your refrigerator is going to, blank the bed. After 5 or 10 years, you're going to go and buy another one. It's kind of sad we're a throwaway society now, but that's what we are. Eric goes, I have a video idea that I need to find a range willing to allow it. The idea involves a Benelli supernova, a hard drive, and a range. I can guess what's going to happen here. I might have to find a way to do it in the woods somewhere. You probably could. You went way deep in the woods somewhere where nobody really owns the land, or maybe it's public land. They probably wouldn't bother you, though. Don't advertise where you are, because if later on the police saw it, then they might be able to track you. I would probably try to find a range, though. That's the safe and more legal way to do it. Scott Keeley goes, they do it with drives, keep people from tampering with them. A lot of people take them apart, then something happens. Then they expect the place that bought it to warranty it over their mishap. Interesting. So it's like an anti-tampering device, if you will. Yeah, it's similar to back when computers were made in like little shops, like you had the little corner shop that would assemble computers. They would put their own little warranty sticker on around the outside of the case. So if somebody opened it up, it would break that seal, and they would know that somebody was in that computer, and it would void the warranty. It's the same principle. They used to do that with pre-built systems, though I don't usually find that anymore. Any desktops that I've bought, maybe within the last 5-10 years, they don't come with that anymore. I guess nowadays, the reason being is nowadays people are so tech savvy. The average consumer is capable of going into their computer, upgrading something like the RAM, the hard drive, or the video card without causing any damage. That would be my guess as to why they don't use those anymore. Yeah, Scott, I could understand it on power supplies, because if you don't know what you're doing, a power supply can kill you. They have transformers in there that hold electricity. They have high voltage capacitors in there. If you touch the wrong thing in a power supply, you're going to meet your maker a lot faster than you bargained for. Eric goes, right to repair made those stickers illegal. Okay. So basically, I guess there's a law now called right to repair. I do remember hearing something about it, to where they said that people have the right to repair their own items without having to worry about voiding the warranty. But I don't believe that extends to devices that can kill you or cause intense bodily harm. So that's probably why, to this day, you still see those stickers on a lot of power supplies. Yeah, Eric, Apple doesn't want you to repair any of their items at all. They make it as hard as possible. If you ever try taking a MacBook apart, not so much the MacBook Pros, those are pretty easy to take apart if you know what you're doing, but I'm talking about like the old MacBooks, the plastic ones. Those were almost impossible. I believe once you took the screws out, if you could find them all, then you had to pry the edges. But you had to use something called a spludger tool, and you were only able to get the one that would fit that through Apple. In other words, they wouldn't sell it to you. The only people that had that tool were the people at the Genius Bar. So if you tried to pry it apart at home, even with your own spludger tool, you ran a good chance of cracking the plastic. And then, of course, if you had to bring it into Apple for a warranty repair, they'd say, "Oh, nope, nope, you opened it. See right there. See all those cracks? You tried to open it. You opened it. Nope, we're not going to warranty it anymore. Sorry. Take your business elsewhere." Uh-oh, Eric. Oh, my MacBook now has a 3 beep of death. We took it camping and went to use it yesterday, and now it has the 3 beep of death. I tell you, this is why I avoid Apple products like the plague. And I don't want to speak ill of Apple. If you are an Apple fanboy or girl, that is absolutely fine. You know what? If you like that platform and that's what works for you, that's fine. But I don't want to have anything to do with it because I'm not trained on it anymore. And I don't like the way they make it so hard to work on their devices. I mean, as like we just said, it is just too complicated. Paul Kane, I've never owned a MacBook. I've owned my iMac for about 10 years now. It's getting slower, but it's still working. So a 10-year-old iMac, we're looking at '09. So you're probably rocking a Core 2 Duo in that. Probably DDR2, maybe DDR3 memory. That was right around the time when they were switching. Still a good computer, though. Actually, I would, if I had to have a Mac, like if somebody told me I absolutely had to have a Mac, I would prefer to have one from that era versus a modern iMac. I just would. They're easier to work on, and they're better made, much better made. Eric goes, I believe those have the issue with the memory pin desoldered from the board. I believe you're right. The main reason that was a problem on those early iMacs, if you to change the memory, you would look underneath the screen. There was a little mesh metal cover, probably about yay big. There was a screw on the left, screw on the right. You take them out, pull the cover off, and the memory sat right there. So for the majority of its life, the memory slot was sitting upside down. And what would happen is the heat and cooling from you turning the iMac on and off over the years would make the contacts expand and contrast. And you would actually have the solder joints getting stressed by the fact that the memory is upside down. And eventually those solder joints would fail and computer wouldn't work anymore. Scott Kelly, if I get an Apple, it's going to be a G5. I owned 4 or 5 of them back in the day, including a iMac G5, 1.6 gigahertz, which was the base model. I had a dual 1.8, which was my main rig for a while, and then I had a single 2.5, which was the least reliable of my G5s. Never had a water cooled one though, and I'm actually glad of that because they were really prone to leaking. If you don't trust me, look it up online. You can find plenty of pictures of G5 towers where the water cooling system failed and pretty much just leaked all over the place, destroyed the motherboard, pretty much took out everything except maybe the hard drives. Eric goes, I'm 99% sure that is the problem because if I press on the rear cover, it will boot, but as soon as I try to type, it locks up. If you want to take it apart and your soldering skills are not that great, you can try the oven method, though I don't really recommend it because it's not usually a long-term solution. But basically, the idea is if you take your motherboard out and you stick it in the oven on a cookie sheet, usually I'll put tin foil on the bottom, at 350 degrees for about 15 minutes, it gets just hot enough to reflow the solder. And then you take it out and you put it on top of your oven and you turn the oven off and you let it cool off gradually. The solder will harden up again and there's a good chance it'll fix your solder joints. But 9 times out of 10, it's not a long-term solution. Like it might work for a few months and then you'll have the same issue again. So your better option is to take it apart, try to figure out which solder joints are bad, and just reflow that solder. There you go. Eric's got a precision soldering iron and a microscope. I need to get one. My soldering iron, the best soldering iron I have is a Radio Shack special. I don't do a lot of soldering anymore. I used to. Fun fact, I used to repair TVs, LCD and plasma TVs back in the day to make extra money before I got into refurbishing computers. I used to find them on the side of the road, and I would take them. And this was back at the time when generally the reason they were out by the side of the road was capacitor plate, blown capacitors. So I would take them home. I would find out what capacitors were bad. I would desolder them and solder new capacitors in and make sure they worked and sell them. It's just too much of a headache for me to do anymore. I don't have the dexterity or the steadiness in my hands anymore after that bacterial infection I had a few years ago. Scott Keeley goes, I repaired audio equipment. Ah, okay. I'm actually glad I don't need your services on this. But if you guys didn't see the live stream from the other night, I picked up a mid-'80s vintage Technics dual cassette deck. Almost brand new. I don't think they hardly ever use this. And I've been testing it and listening to cassettes pretty much all last night. And it is perfect. I didn't even have to adjust the tape speed. In other words, the motor speed. Even that was set perfectly. Really happy to have that, because the tape deck I was using before was a JVC dual cassette deck that had the it was a auto reverse, but it was the kind that had the auto reverse head that would flip instead of I'm trying to think how it worked before. Instead of actually turning the head over and using a different head, it would use the same head and it would just turn it from one way to another to go from one side of the tape to the other. And as Eric so eloquently put in one of my live streams a while back, those always go out of alignment. And sure enough, after about a month of use, that's what happened. Now, if I try to play side A, it sounds okay, but I try to play side B, the right channel is muffled. Well, the left channel sounds fine. So be really cautious about that. If you get a dual cassette deck that has auto reverse, and more specifically with the oscillating or rotating heads, they have a lot of problems going out of sync. Awesome Computers asks, is Let Go any good? Not in my area. Now, I've talked a little bit about this before. These different apps, Let Go, OfferUp, Mercari, there's a whole bunch of them. You got to find which one is best for your area. In my case, OfferUp far outperforms any of the other apps. Let Go, I've had very little success on. Most of the time, I don't get any responses to my ads at all. If I do get a response, generally they're trying to lowball me on the price. But you just have to try them out. What I would suggest, pick 2 or 3 different items. Pick maybe, in my case, it would be a computer, a desktop, and a laptop, and maybe a video game console, and list it on each one. In other words, Let Go, OfferUp, Mercari, and just find out which one works the best for you. Eric goes, maybe I could do it with a 225 amp stick welder. Well, I highly doubt it. You would probably melt the board, but I think that's the joke, right? Okay, excellent. Apparently my parcel has been delivered. We got 12 watchers and 8 likes. I already got more likes on this than I did with that first live stream, for obvious reasons. I actually need to end this soon because I need to go down and make some egg salad. You guys know that for lunch for the past couple of months, I've been living off of chicken salad, trying to get these last few pounds off. Well, I am fed up with eating chicken salad. I've had it up to here with chicken salad. So now I'm switching to egg salad, which I haven't had in a long time. And I really like it just as good. I just don't like making it because if you get eggs, to make egg salad, you have to hard boil eggs, which is no big deal. I mean, I have one of those little electric egg cookers that you fill with water, you put the eggs in, and it cooks the eggs in like 20 minutes. But the problem is, if you get eggs that are too fresh, you can't peel the shells off easily. In other words, when you go to peel the shell, you're losing a lot of the egg that you would use to make the egg salad. So here's hoping I did not get fresh eggs this time. And I'm not kidding. I'm absolutely serious about that. Goat City asks, it was just a mount to ask if he had heard of phone farming. I've never heard of phone farming. Now it's a new one on me. Oh, it's because Awesome Computers ask, what fun things can you do with a bunch of El Cheapo prepaid smartphones or burner phones? Oh, I don't know. You could have a phone party, or you could play a heck of a lot of Angry Birds. I mean, Angry Birds doesn't take a lot at all. I play Angry Birds on my what is probably now close to 10-year-old Amazon Kindle Fire HD or Amazon Kindle HD. It's not even a Fire. This was before they had the Fire. You get paid to watch advertisements and download various games and apps. I couldn't do that. I'm a very active person. It's almost hard enough for me to just sit here for an hour and do a live stream. Like, I mean, what are we, 26 minutes in? If you add the half an hour I did before, that's about an hour total. I want to get up and take a bike ride or take a walk. So for me, that wouldn't be good. But for someone out there that's more sedentary, maybe they have mobility issues. They're trying to look at a way to make extra income. Yeah, I could definitely see that as a possibility. Most of it is passive. Set it and forget it. A little bit of trick to it. All right, tubers, I'm ending the live stream here. I just wanted to give you guys an opportunity to interject, and I want to apologize for that fiasco that happened before. Please continue to like and subscribe. I'm probably going to take it easy the next couple of days. Probably not going to see me for maybe 3 or 4 days. I'm going to take a YouTube sabbatical just to kind of clear my mind, hopefully get some better sleep. So please have a great evening, and as always, have a blessed day, everybody.